Well, more than a dozen people displaced after two separate fires in Queens over the weekend. 3 people do remain hospitalized in serious condition, including a 7-year-old girl following this fire, which started early Sunday morning in Woodside. That entire building is now under a vacate order while fire marshals investigate the cause.
And foul play not suspected after a massive fire ripped through an entire block of homes in Queens Village on Saturday. Queensborough President Donovan Richard joining us this morning with the very latest on what's being done to help these families and talk about other things happening in the borough. So good to see you, Mr. Richard.
Good to see you, Dan.
Let's begin first and foremost with the Red Cross helping displaced families from both of these fires. Any word on, I guess, a cause for either one of them?
Not yet. It's still currently under investigation, but my heart goes out certainly to those families. And I have a staff member who lives directly across the street, so we were monitoring this very closely over the weekend.
Any update on the victims, how they're doing?
Still serious condition, some. So we're waiting to hear a little bit more from FDNY. But most importantly right now is ensuring that the Red Cross is working with the families to make sure that they're housed and have all the necessities during this difficult time.
You know, there's been a lot of attention paid to, I guess, code enforcement overall in the city and the borough, right? So any factors being looked at if there were code violations that could have led to this?
Well, I think after any fire such as this one, you'll have the Department of Buildings, FDNY, the fire inspector go in to look at what caused the situation, and then from there we'll know a little bit more. But I do know the Department of Buildings certainly has a shortage of inspectors, and we'll be watching to see if there were any 311 complaints lodged here prior to this incident.
Okay. Let's turn to beach safety. We understand the NYPD is now deploying drones to help circumspect the area there. Is that actually keeping people safe?
It's a combination, but I think the biggest victory recently was our call to push for lifeguards, especially during heat wave, to stay at the beach 6 to 8 p.m., which they are, and there was a life saved last week based on the extension of the hours for lifeguards during heat wave. There's still a lot more work that has to go into ensuring that there's much more of a coordinated effort. The drones play one role, but they're not human beings. You know, they're not plopping anybody out the water. So we really need to see our lifeguard hours extended permanently, and we need to see the beach season extended.
Why aren't they? You know, I listened to the Parks Commissioner talk about this, right? Pool hours can extend lifeguards, but beach can't because of different circumstances. But then there are certain beaches that still have lifeguards there until 8 o'clock. Why not just expand the hours?
Listen, I don't want to negate the challenges around not having enough lifeguards, and you don't want to have people working 24 hours, 7 days a week shifts.
That's not what they're asking for.
But the issue is just create designated areas, and a lot of this has to do with the union that represents the lifeguards in collective bargaining. So I am appreciative of the commissioner pushing based on our push to ensure that lifeguards would be on the beach a little bit longer, but it doesn't make any sense.
Look what happened just last weekend. It was they had somebody go into the water after hours. There happened to be lifeguards that were there. They weren't necessarily on the beach, but they were there to go in the water and get that person out.
And we're going to see it more often as these heat waves play out. New York City is slated to see as many 90-degree days as Atlanta. Climate change is here, and so if we don't adjust, we're going to see more lives lost.
From beach safety to subway safety, another big topic. Any updates on that stabbing that took place last Sunday at Jamaica Van Wyck Station?
Well, thank God, and I want to thank one of our asylum seekers because he never really got the credit he deserved for saving that woman's life. So she is stable. The individual was arrested and I believe being held accountable by the district attorney. But that station has been problematic for some time, and we've done a lot of work through our Jamaica Task Force to make sure we see more police presence, even the lighting there. So there's still a lot more work to be done there, and we're looking forward to some real station upgrades there.
I think there's a lot of talk still. I mean, we talk about this every time you come into the casino, whether or not it's still happening. What's the very latest with these behind closed doors talks about this?
Well, we'll see. You know, there'll be another session in Albany upcoming, and I'll continue to say what I've said. There should be no one person who stands between a community and almost 25,000 jobs. So we're going to continue to push on this, and we'll see where the legislature ends up on this matter.
You want somebody else to bring us to the table?
Listen, I'm a member of the CAC. I'm going to have a vote on it. And the purpose of the Community Advisory Councils was to ensure that no one person had veto power on this project.
Okay.
You know, your energy seems a little low today.
No.
Was it because you
extended a
were
lot.
rowing away this weekend?
Well, one, we had the Ecuadorian parade yesterday.
Oh, yes.
And then I was rowing away, yes.
Dragon
and then
Festival.
we had Jackson Heights Day. But no, it was great. And I was proud once again to retain the title. Queens retained the title and taking on the comptroller and mayor. And, you know, they went home with an L.
Yeah. And you went home with a W.
Congratulations.
We got the W. Queens get the money.
You get money for it. It's supposed to a charity, right?
Queens get the money.
There you go. All right, Donovan Richards, good to see you
Good
as
to
always.
see
All right,
you.
I know you had a lot going on, but I appreciate you making the time.
Thank you on this
Thank you.
Monday.